Welcome to the Coach's Show. I'm Rusty Hitt. He is Coach Eugene Rogers, head coach of the Corsicana Tigers. And Coach got started in district last week and started bad and didn't get much better as the game rolled on. So it's one of those, sometimes things just happen and get that momentum going the wrong way. It's hard to put it in reverse.
Yeah, it's not the start that we wanted, not the start that we expected. But, sometimes bad things happen to good people. And we just have to, tighten up our bootstraps and continue to go to work and move forward and learn from it.
Well, you found yourself in a 14-0 hole pretty much on 3 plays. Opening kickoff and the first offensive play you ran was a contested ball that got tipped and went for an interception, and they scored pretty quickly. So I know it's a tough job to get kids to refocus and settle down and get back in the ball game. And I know it was probably a challenge for you, and you were able to put a couple scores on the board before halftime. But I know it's at that point it was kind of like, come on, guys, let's just play this next play, right? It's hard to get them to understand. Let's just one play at a time, get back in the game, do what we do.
Yeah, you learn from your mistakes, and we're going to use this game as a tool to get us better, and not to do the things that we did to put us in that situation. And we're just going to use it as a learning tool, and we will get past this.
Well, Terrell came in as a big play offense. Both their backs are averaging 10-plus yards a carry, and they didn't complete a lot of passes, but when they do, they went for big yardage, and that was basically the same. I think they were 5-7 for 21 or something along those lines. But they had a lot of yards on those completions. I think there were 4 touchdown passes, and then both of the backs had big nights like they have been having. So wasn't a whole lot different than you saw, but maybe the speed level and their execution was really pretty good.
Yeah, unfortunately, we practiced on the pass plays, and our guys just, I guess, didn't trust us enough to have the eyes in the right position, because when that tight end and wing release, it's going to be a pass. And it was a pass in practice, and it was a pass in game, and we had our eyes in the wrong spot, and they got behind us, and they're wide open. We just got to continue to learn and trust what we do in practice, that it's going to happen in the game. And when we say, look at this guy, look at that guy, if he's releasing, cover him. Yeah. I just, just got to be honest. We didn't do it. We didn't do it Friday night, and we got to learn to do it and do it to the best of our abilities.
Well, and again, they're not a big high percentage completion team, so it doesn't take but a couple to get behind you to end up on the wrong side of that. So it's not like you gave up a ton of passing yards or pass completions. It's just the ones that they were able to hit. And one of them, the big ones, was to number 21, who's probably their best player, only a sophomore, but he took a bubble, went untouched 70 yards, and that's not something that was a scheme thing. And it's just the guy made a play and we didn't make a play.
Right. And again, we it's a routine bubble. It's a bubble. You go out there and tackle the guy, and we didn't. You just got to go out there and tackle the guy.
Well, and then the opening kickoff return, your kickoff coverage has been good. Your special teams have been good, and again, I don't think the guy got touched on the play. I mean, they executed the return where they wanted it. They got the blocks they needed, and again, just different level speed getting through there and scoring touchdowns. So made it a little tough. And then on the other hand, your offense, failing to establish the run game has been a problem, other than Mark Brown.
Right.
Mark at Wildcat had some runs. Obviously, he had a 74-yard touchdown or 76-yard touchdown early in the game. And I guess the difference is he's able to hit the outside, get off the end there, and use his speed to make a difference. But just your base offense has really struggled to get the run game going till later in the first half, where you had really any significant runs. So.
Yeah, we're not to give any excuses. We're young on the offensive line.
Very young.
We have a true freshman. We have a sophomore in there, And yeah, it takes time for those guys to gel. But we're going to get there, and we're gonna take care of those guys moving forward by just spitting the ball out and getting it on the edges as quick as we can. And now the rush won't be able to get to us, and then later in the game we'll be able to try to utilize the run and be able to hit them in some spots that we can.
Well, you did have another drive there near the end of the half, and some really big completions to Drake Petty along that drive that allowed really keep the chains moving and get that other score, and at least get some positive momentum going into halftime there. Give you something good to talk about at half.
Yeah, we didn't have our best athlete the first half. Something that he did, and hopefully he learned from that, and that also hindered us offensive wise. Not having him in there and being able to go to CJ kind of hurt us.
Been your best playmaker on the offensive,
yes,
out as a receiver for sure.
But it's things that can be fixed, things that we did, and we talked about them, and we're going to get them fixed.
Well, that's what all you can do, right? Is take what happened. You took it from the first week. Cleveland certainly wasn't what you had hoped,
right?
And you saw the turnaround the next 2 weeks. Played much better, and so certainly I would expect that you're going to see something similar this week. So I guess as a positive, let's look for something good out of this game.
Right.
What was something that you took away that says, okay, that's something we can build on, whether it's a late effort in somebody out there giving their all in the second half when the game was certainly well over. What is it something you saw from that you're like, okay, that's something I can hold on to and work from?
When we got stops on defense, we did things that we were coached to do, and I highlighted that to the kids. When you do things that you're coached to do, yes, we can stop them. We can make them punt, or we can turn the ball over and get it to our offense. When we work our package situation with Mark at quarterback and things like that, we can score on people, and we did. And so we got to have him available for the full game to be able to utilize him at different points in the game to give the defense curveballs and things like that. So the positive, when we do what we're coached to do, we stop people. Offensively, when we do what we're coached to do, we can go down there and score and do those things. So we did look at the positive, and we're going to concentrate on those and try to move forward.
Well, I think there's one thing is you've proven you can throw and catch it a little bit.
Yes, we can.
You got that part of your game that you can make plays and get downfield on folks, and so that's something certainly to build on. As I think a lot of it goes back to depth, right? Last year you certainly your depth was an issue. It's starting to be a little bit better, but that's part of the growth of a program and the rebuild that you're kind of in the middle of.
Yeah. We want to talk about depth. We don't have great depth. I'm just being honest. Yeah. And when you are trying to set the culture and change the culture, and you got to make it difficult on some people, the ones that want to be out there, they're out there, and the ones that don't, they don't play. So it's a tough sport played by tough young men, and I'm proud of the ones that have made it and to this point, and I can just talk about them. The ones that didn't make it, I'm sorry.
That's right.
But we're going to go with the guys that we got, and when we have depth problems, we're going to put the next man up, and those guys are going to go out there and play and perform. And it is what it is.
Well, it's valuable experience,
yes.
For those young guys to come in.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, you got a true freshman.
Yeah,
and starting on the offensive line. Probably the hardest position to play, right?
Yes.
As a freshman, the intricacies involved in blocking schemes and working together as a unit. And he's taking a lot of lumps, I'm sure, because he's a freshman. But, next year as a sophomore, it should pay dividends as well as your other sophomore that you're having to play. And you had to play a lot of sophomores last year. So all those things are going to come into play. And it's as you go, and again, we don't want to look at next year, but as the year goes along, they're going to get that experience and we'll improve as we move along each day.
I can see our sophomores and juniors getting valuable experience right now, and it's showing. And those guys are the leaders, and they're waiting in the wings to just lead and take over. But our seniors need to step up and just, if they don't, I'm going to turn it over to the juniors and juniors and sophomores, and let them take over.
Well, again, last week wasn't a much fun week for you. I know a lot to work on, and I know you're getting ready for this coming week, which is a big week. Go to Crandall. It's going to be a very similar type team. They don't run the same systems necessarily, but a team that's in a growing area. Crandall's really grown. We've seen it over the last few years, and it's a team full of athletes. And they've had a quarterback that's a good trigger man. Mm-hmm. He's a good passer, and he's also had a lot of success running the ball himself. They got a good running back. They got big receivers. So you do have a chore, but it's a different kind of challenge than you had last week against Terrell.
Yeah, the only difference is we've seen the spread offense and we call it two back with the tight end, and we are familiar with that. I mean, it's down in and down out.
We practice it every day.
We get to practice it every day. So there's familiarity with our defensive front, and now we can be put in a position to not get out leverage and keep everything in front and get population around the football and tackle. Yeah. I'm expecting great results defensively. They run formations that we're accustomed to, and we're going to get population around the football, and we have to tackle.
That's a benefit for a younger team, inexperienced team, the familiarity with what you're facing. At least it won't be something new. Now, it's just about executing, right? Going out and making a play. Well, Crandall comes into the game averaging they've thrown 529 yards total passing. So, not a huge passing team, but there are a high percentage. I think they're completing 67%, almost 1,000 yards rushing the ball. So average 6.6 a game. So, over 231 a game, in rushing yards, 14 TDs on the ground. So that's where they're doing a lot of their damage. And so that's like, okay, buckle up, guys. You got to get in here and be physical, come up, and as you say, tackle.
Yeah. They are 64% run, 36% pass, and when they run it, they do a good job of running the football. They're an old school power team. They'll pull a backside guard, block down, and kick out, and try to get a vertical crease. And we have to get in there and spill it and bounce it outside to our free players, and make sure we're doing those things. And we're doing that this week. And we got to continue to do it, and we got to do it down in and down out. They are not going to turn away from it. They're going to continue to do it. And we got to be consistently at stopping them at doing that. And that's the thing about, an old school offense. Those guys are going to keep running those plays. Yep. And we got to be consistent in stopping it, not just one time. It's got to be every play. And a young defense is not used to that, and we got to get used to it, and we got to grow up quick and in a hurry. Well,
because it's the kind of thing, and like you saw last week, you may stop it 3 times, but that 4th time, if you don't, it may be to the house. So you got to be in there, and you got to get ready, because it's going to be a physical match.
Yes.
They got a big offensive line, and speed in the backfield, and power runners as well. So you got to be ready, and those guys are going to have to come up and hit and hang on, right? So
yeah.
So it's going to be a challenge for your defense. Now, offensively, looking at their defense, what do you see as far as opportunities in the game? They're a 3-man front, looks like, mostly. And so talk about how you can attack that and what you see when you're watching film on that.
Yeah, they're a 3-man front, and then they have 8 defenders in the pass. But we have some schemes that they can take advantage of what they do secondary-wise, leverage-wise. We're going to try to use their leverage against them and spit it out to our receivers, and we got to throw them, we got to catch, and we got to use that leverage against them, and catch the ball and run and get as many yards as we can. We're going to try to get our athletes in space, and we have to block by doing that. We're going to spit it back out there, throw it to them, and let our athletes see what they can do in space. But we have to block. We have to do a great job blocking in perimeter when that athlete is in space, and we got to get as many yards as we can.
Well, I know you'd like to see some sustained drives, going down. A lot of your scores have been in big plays, which you're not ever going to turn down, right? You're never going to turn down a big play, but you'd like to be able to move the ball, let your defense get a rest, especially against a team that likes to run the ball, like to get there, move the chains a little bit, and consistently move it down the field. And so I know that's something that you would love to see happen, and keep that their offense on the sideline.
Yeah, we want that first quarter Hallsville, 7 minutes off the clock and then go and score. I'm a great defensive coordinator, great head coach. When our offense is out there taking, 10, 12 plays and go down and score, we are a great ball club when we do that. Yeah, we definitely want to do that.
Well, they come in to the week. They won last week against Mesquite Poteet, 56-33. I watched a little bit of that on Huddle. I didn't watch the whole game, but I was impressed with Poteet a little bit too. They moved the ball. They turned it over, and that really cost them. But Crandall was able to move the ball as well, and obviously put it in the end zone. So, what did you learn from watching that film about what they're capable of on both sides?
Like you said, Poteet, they went back and forth with them. They were scoring on them, and they had a great game plan. And just like I know the situation that coach is going through, the change is when they didn't get on that kickoff.
Yep.
And then something bad happened to Poteet, so they got in that losing mode, and then Crandall went down there and scored, and then they got another turnover, and then they scored again.
Flipped that game right there, didn't they?
So teams that's not used to winning, you can't lose it when something bad happens. You got to continue to fight, and I saw that in the Mesquite game. When something bad happened to Poteet, they kind of let up, and they continued to attack them and things like that. We just got to learn how to fight for 48 minutes, and as soon as something bad happens, we can't just lose it and let it beat us twice.
And I know that was a big focus of yours in the off season, right? All the putting the kids in difficult spots that they had to fight through, and I guess part of that growth is taking what you learned here to taking it to the football field, right?
Yep. That's it. So like I said, we went through the challenging things in off season. They did that. They passed that test, and now we got to take it to the field and remember the things that we went through, the difficult times, and how they got through it and fought through it. And we're going to be fine. We just got to remember those things.
And I wonder part of that too is, I hate to do the old days thing, but back before, we had 3 full weeks of two-a-days. And they were real two-a-days, right? You came in the morning, you worked out for 2 or 3 hours, and you left, and you came back at 3 o'clock in the middle of the heat, and you went back out there maybe in shoulder pads and shorts, but you went back out again and went through it again. And that creates some stress right there. Some difficult situations that you have to learn to work through. And I know player safety and all is very important in the way we do it now. And the time-wise, school starts so much earlier. But they don't get some of those things that maybe you had to do on the football field in that non-game environment, I guess. So
it's totally different. We can't do those things anymore.
Which is some good, for sure. But, well, quarterback, he comes in, he's hitting 67% of his passes. And he's got almost 200 yards rushing. But the big guys, they're running back, Derek Ward Jr., he's over 500 yards, 7 yards a carry, big number 22. I know that's something that you got to be focused on all game. And I know your linebackers are going to be trying to wear that number all game and make sure that they're not getting those big chunks of yards. But that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, we are well aware that he runs hard, and it's like I said, our key is to get scheme up to get a free person on him, and they got to take their shot and they got to wrap up, they got to tackle, and then the other 9 or the 8 needs to get around the football and have population around the football and tackling. He runs hard and he does a great job of running. They're in the layman's eye, you would think they're simple. Yeah, they're good at what they do, and we have to be great at what we do in stopping them. And then the thing about it, they don't have an intricate passing attack. They just turn and catch and throw and spit it out to a great athlete.
Yep.
And we got to be able to see it and go out there and tackle that guy.
And we saw him last year. He was a sophomore, and I think he did a number on us, if I remember right. He was Douglas number 3, I believe, is the guy, and he's already got 5 touchdowns in receiving, and he's a Division I quality, and I'm sure he's probably already about to commit or whatever if he hasn't already. So talk about what it is when you have a dominant receiver like that. How do you defend him? Do you just stick to your schemes, or do you try to match up your best guy on their best guy, or how do you try to play that?
What we do is anytime he's single, we're going to have somebody jamming him. We're going to have somebody over the top. So we're going to harass him at the line of scrimmage and have somebody over the top so that quarterback knows, hey, I don't have the deep ball. I don't have the short ball. And if it's 2 on his side, we're going to have eyes on him, and we're going to have 4 eyes on him.
Yeah.
You know, that inside guy's going to be looking at him as well. And we're going to get out there and try to tackle him if they throw it to him quick in space. You know,
that's certainly, you have to account for that. But one thing that does is kind of take somebody out of the mix on the run, right? So now you're 9 instead of 10, trying to watch the running back. So again, that they all create some challenges, but I know you're ready to go. I don't know how much you watched last week, but the rest of the results in the district, Ennis beat Kaufman 42-21. Heritage, shut out Greenville 41-0. Of course, Crandall over Poteet. So it's kind of what went on in the rest of the district this week. You got Heritage at Ennis, obviously a big game. Kaufman at Terrell, and Poteet at Greenville. So, and then we have a bye week next week, and then we follow that up at home against Poteet, I believe. So again, that's homecoming. So. Yeah. So, it'd be nice to get a win going into this bye, get ready to go, and a couple of games that you feel potentially pretty good about against Poteet and Greenville. And that would be a great fit for you, if you could draw it up on the board, right? That's what you would do. And so talk about the importance of having that bye week after what was a tough week last week, and see how this game goes. Getting that win going into a bye week, what would that do for your team?
Yeah, most importantly, we just finished the 6 weeks grading period, and varsity 100% passing rate. Great job, of course, kind of teachers and athletes that did that. So we're fine in that regard. We're gonna go over there and plan to win and beat the Crandall Pirates, and then we're gonna take time to recover and heal and work on the fundamentals of just running, tackling, and doing those things. And then as a staff, we will game plan Crandall and put the best plan forward to win that homecoming game. And then when we get back from our break, we'll go to work on Crandall. But in the open week, we're just gonna work on our skill level. It's not about Crandall, it's about getting better at our skill level. Running, tackling, throwing the ball, catching the ball, getting turnovers and things like that. Kind of going back to basics.
Well, Friday night's supposed to be a little cooler. So I'm sure your guys will be happy about that. Maybe maybe it won't produce cramps.
Yeah.
Maybe we've seen earlier in the year when it was hot and humid. So maybe we'll have a little better environment for you guys on Friday night. And I know you're ready to get off. It's a short road trip, thankfully. And you got to go off the back roads to get there, but it's a short trip, and nice field. Accommodations for the fans and certainly for the announcers. Not all that great, but it's okay. We'll take it. We're ready to go, and I know your guys are ready. I know you're looking forward to getting that taste out of your mouth this week.
Yeah, it's just like the first game with Cleveland. Had high expectations, and we didn't get those goals, and we lost. And then we came back. We went to work, and we balanced up and refocused and recalibrated. And we were the homecoming guest, and we went over there and took care of them. And now
That's right.
You have the Terrell situation. We didn't play to our expectation, and we're going to recalibrate and refocus and work on the things that we need to. And we're a homecoming guest again, and we like that, by the way.
Let's go spoil that,
so
right?
we plan on going over there and spoiling that homecoming.
Well, every program that really has that turnaround, they have that kind of signature type win, and we'll take it this week. So
yeah, and going back to the beginning of the season, I have certain goals, and one of them is to win a big road game, and it is to beat Crandall. So that's been highlighted and it's been talked about in this program.
Okay, well, let's go get it done. He's Coach Rogers. I'm Rusty Hitt. Thanks for joining us, and we will be back for the pregame show after this.